Well, hello everyone. It is Friday, January the 20th, 2023. I am Dale Delbridge, Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. This is your status chat. So here we are on Friday, and we have no more NCAA football to talk about. So what we're going to do to lead off before we hit to our one single story. Well, let's tell you what's been going on. Well, we had the Christmas freeze, and that was a little bit of unexpected pleasure. It was, what do you call that, serendipity. I found some things around, and we did take care of those, and then we were in the mood for working, so we looked up at that last bathroom upstairs that had not been updated to this style of faucet. It had an old Delta that if you moved it, it leaked a little bit. Cartridge probably needed to be changed, but it was chrome, and I want to get it going anyway. So we went to make all, which this would be the last one. Every one of the vanities in the house have the same faucet in it. The first one is jacuzzi, and then I think Allen and Roth bottom out. These are only about $80. So I put one of those in, and of course it's brush stainless, brush nickel, whatever you want to call it. Looks pretty good. But then we had the RO faucet next to it. Looked like this right here. Look how shiny and chromy that is. Okay, well, that's the last one of these in the house, and it wasn't that long ago when I started with the first one replaced. I had one leaking, so I fixed one. Did the primary bath. We can't call them that other word now anymore because of correctness, but we fixed that one, and then we did the flooring upstairs on the remodel, and so we did the laundry room. We fixed that one up with another one of those faucets. That's when we found that Allen and Roth had apparently bought out the jacuzzi brand, and they were making still like it. And then we went up doing that last one upstairs. We had one of those. We're going to take it off and replace it. And we decided we'd replace it with another RO faucet. It looks just like the ones in everywhere else that we have now in the house. So we looked for our iSpring on Amazon, where we find them, and we found something that looked just about like it. But the one thing that iSpring had with it, or going for it, I've had several, it's worked out really well. But they're a little bit on the expensive side for what you get, and they come with one little connector that connects to the faucet, another one to the tubing, and I always have to go out and buy another connection. This is a little watch. It's not showing up on my monitor too good. So these are about $8, $6 to $8. So you spend like $38 or more for the faucet, then you have to buy that extra fitting, and it's another trip. It's just kind of a pain. Found a brand that looked just about like it in the picture. And then when it came with two of those, it had a quarter to quarter and quarter to 3/8, and I always need quarter to 3/8. So we bought the one that was a little bit cheaper. It had both fittings in it, both tube connectors, Sharp Bites or Watts or whatever you want to call it, Guest Fittings, another brand. And then when we got it in, we compared it to the faucet in the kitchen, the one that was there, and it is slightly different. And of course, that's slightly different. You'd never notice that. I would notice it, and it would bug me. So I decided to relocate the kitchen RO faucet to the upstairs vanity so that all of those three little vanities match perfectly together. And then I'd put the other one, the new one, in the kitchen sink. Because also there was another little thing, the little shepherd's crook, this thing right here, I call it, the spout on the new one was out a little bit further, and it would shoot the water a little further in the sink. So I thought also the iSprings would shoot a little bit more down. They'd do better for a smaller sink or vanity. So I relocated it. And then that's when I ended up creating what do we want to call this? Kitchen Disaster 2023. And we'll put a video. We'll make a video out of that because there's some learning experience. If you are going to be a first-time home buyer and you can't buy a brand new home, even if you buy a brand new home, sometimes you end up when you get out of warranty, you got to fix stuff. So we'll talk about what went wrong on that. It could happen to anybody, and you just have to laugh and go along with it and just keep on going. Never give up. So let's get to that middle segment. We'll look at that one little article, then we'll wrap this right up. If you like this content, please go to calldeltosell.com, find the tab that says on YouTube, click it, and it'll open up a page of QR codes. There you can use a smartphone to scan and get to the YouTube page, or you can just mouse over and click it on a PC. There you'll be able to subscribe to this little button over here and click the notification bell so that YouTube will notify you when each Friday's blog has been uploaded. Thank you. Okay, now that I've finished my jibber jabber up there, what do we get to our little segment, our little news segment here? This isn't particularly good news or bad news, but news is what it is, and you must stay informed. It's not a point of trying to be all the way optimistic or all the way pessimist. You just want to be realist, and that's where I am. So let's go ahead and bring that story up. Okay, this we're taking from Realtor.com, although it's actually a MarketWatch story. We could have gone to MarketWatch to find that. I think MarketWatch may have a paywall, but when they do it this way, we don't have to necessarily confront that. But this is where I heard it from first. And what it says here is not the most exciting thing. Oh, we didn't give Arthi Swaminathan. I apologize, Arthi. Credit for this. This is dateline is January 20th, 2023. This was yesterday. It was released. And it says U.S. existing home sales fall for the 11th straight month in December. Well, if you've been looking for a home, if you've been thinking about looking for a home or to sell your home, that should be no surprise. That's just mainly the buying power of our money going down as the Fed raises all the target rates, which causes everything else to go up, and we have massive inflation. But we are seeing things dip down a little bit in the price of mortgages in the short term. In fact, let me just draw this attention to you. I hear a radio announcement which annoys me because I think it's dishonest. It's misleading at best, if not dishonest. We hear somebody's advertising on the radio, rates are in the 4s. Maybe with a buy down for a year, and then it may go to the 5s, but as of today, it was like 6.17, the Mortgage Daily News forecast, the daily number was. So when somebody tells you the rates are in the 4s, you need to consider if you want to do business with somebody who will do you like that. Because, yeah, it is for maybe a year, but that's not the actual mortgage rate. It's not necessarily the 4s in that it's kind of a buy down. We could do a 15 years, look at those, they drop a little bit. But we did see that week end with a little higher tick up in mortgage rates. We saw demand destruction cut into it. And so the people selling those financial products wanted to sell them, so they started lowering their rate, and they can't but do that but so far for so long, and I think they're going to slowly tick up. I think our next Fed meeting is February or something like that. So anyway, so much for that. Let's get back to where we're at. So this really shouldn't be a big surprise. What we're looking for is, are we going to see the teetering of the point where we just slow the number of transactions always slows first, and eventually some of the prices will start to come down, but the prices always lag. The change in prices always lag the transactions. Because we start doing things really fast, the prices go up, and they're always trying to macroeconomically get themselves centered again. So it just says that existing home sales fell 1.5% in a seasonally adjusted annual rate of 4.02 million in December, NAR said. And that's okay. We don't really need to know how many. We're just kind of looking at the percentage change, 1.5%. And it says, of course, this is the 11th straight month. And I guess that's good to know it's the 11th month. We're at least having a steady trend. But that's not too bad. What it does say in this article, and I'll post this for you and put it in the description of the Status Chat over on the YouTube page where the Status Chat lives, we'll do that. But it also says that compared with December of 2021, home sales were down 34%. So that's 34% year over year. That's a pretty good jump. And we look at it that this is here, it's also telling us that it's not a great trend. This is the lowest it's been since 2010, which is about when we started pulling out of the 2008 kind of collapse that they had, the bubble burst, whatever you want to call it. And you can go ahead and read some of these numbers down. All I want to get to toward the bottom here is this: with great power comes great responsibility. Here it says sales of existing homes mostly fell across the country, led by the South, which saw a 2.2% drop. And that really shouldn't surprise you, because it was the South that everybody's moving to. And so we saw those values skyrocket so fast. And now they're coming down a little bit faster than the rest of them, but we're still, I think, above. I think we're still a cut above where we are. So I think that's all we need to look at. We may look at it as we dropped a little faster than the rest of the nation, and that you can say, oh, that's terrible, that's bad, that's really bad. But it's because we went stellar so far above where the other parts of the nation were. So I think we still remain cut above the rest of the nation, and it's how you look at it, good, bad, or whatever. But that's the news. We are slowing down, and we'll get to today's numbers. How about now? Hello, I'm Dale Delbridge of Benchmark Realty, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. If you are currently unrepresented and would like to know how to compare up to 3 properties side by side and room by room, then go over to my new YouTube channel. Call Dale to Sell. That's one L in Dale, no spaces. Watch the demo on Real Scout, and then call me, and we'll set up your exclusive ad-free account today. Okay, let's take a look at the numbers we track each week and see how our numbers did if we're actually falling 2.2%. That's not huge. That's a little bit on the downside. We'd rather announce that they went up by 2.2% than went down by 2.2%, but we're still a destination location. I talked to some people. Well, I don't want to do that. We'll talk way too long. But I ran into, earlier this week, I ran into 2 escapees, a younger couple that had come from from Colorado Springs, and we had an older fellow, generation kind of like me, a retiree, had come from Riverside, California, lived there his whole life, and both of them came to Tennessee because of what Tennessee is. And of course, if you watch me, you know I'm against drugs and addiction and the problems, and I'm against weed, and I let people know that. And I was shocked to hear how almost violent the way they responded to that they one of the reasons they picked Tennessee is because we don't have that. And they said nothing they promised it would bring when they, quote, legalized it happened. It just made things worse, and they picked us. Now, they could have gone to Florida, but they came to Tennessee instead. And I don't blame anybody for wanting to improve their family, improve their life, improve their retirement, whatever stage they're in. If they want to come to Tennessee, they just need to look me up, and I'll help them. Now, we're going to look at last week's numbers from January 13th. We had 17,292 opportunities in the Real Scout system, and that was up over the previous period. We had 2,811 in under contract still showing. That also was up over the previous period, but it wasn't so much that it changed the ratio. They both stayed steady at 16%. That was last week. This week, first month of the year, January, we are on 20th day, 2023. We had 17,128 in the opportunities, which actually decreased a little bit, and we had a under contract still showing number of 39, and that went up just a tad. And with that ratio, the proportionality of it, we had 18%. We had 18% of those that were ratio to available to still holding on to them in the market was 18%, and that did go up 2 full percentage points. So we are seeing a first change that we've seen in a long time, a couple of weeks. How many weeks? 1, 2, 3, almost a month. Almost a month. That's the first time we've seen that ratio jump from 16% up to 18%. So anyway, forewarned is forearmed, and so you need to stop here for a little bit of a weekly update, and we'll get into kitchen disaster 20. What I call it? Catastrophe, out of whatever I called it, 2023. We'll do that here in a Home and Land video. I think it'd be entertaining perhaps for you to watch, to know that sometimes things don't work out first go around, and we just deal with them because that's what we do.